Hello, fellow self-publishers. So today I am walking you through how to publish a book on Kindle Direct Publishing. So if we are right at the KDP bookshelf, this is where you're going to see all of your books. What I'm going to do is go to create a new title, and I am going to start with my paperback. Now, this doesn't matter which one you start with, but I do have my paperback files ready to go, so I'm going to start here, and then I'll add my Kindle book later. So it is in English. The book title is Save the Sharks. There is no subtitle. You can do a subtitle. There are some authors here who like to put a story about sharks or a story about conservation or a story about this to help with SEO. I don't like doing that just because I think my titles are clear enough on their own to where they sort of tell a story about what it's about. However, if your title is a little bit more abstract or you have really good keywords that you can put into your subtitle that makes sense for your story, then go for it. I have used the subtitle on other books, but for this series, my titles I think are pretty direct to where I don't need a subtitle. So this is a part of the series, so I'm going to click this button and add the series details. It is existing and it's the Save the Earth series. This is main content because this is one of the primary titles within the series. This is going to be book 6, so it already is seen that it is book 6. So yes, I'm going to say this is the correct book order and continue. Now this is new to KDP, so if you're watching this in the future, this may not be new, but this is new for me. This is the most recent title I'm uploading that has this update in it. And I'm so excited because if you have published a series on KDP before, this made it 100 times easier because there's no more contacting them. You just go ahead and plug it in right here, which is great. So it is not a new edition. So my author name. And then this is for contributors. Please include your illustrator. And if you want to include everybody else, some editors don't want to be included, some prefer to be included. Just always check with whoever helps work on your book, see what they prefer, and if you are no longer in contact with them, just go ahead and read over your contract because they likely will state it in there. So I am just going to put myself as the author, and now we need our book's description. Okay, so for the description on KDP, you can get a little fancy with using italics like you see here. This is my listing for Save the Ocean. Bold, different size text with bold. So you can get fancy. You can even put in these little bullet points. So this is all in KDP where you can change what this looks like. Now, you may know how to use HTML coding, which this requires, and honestly, it's pretty easy to learn. If you guys used MySpace back in the day, you're probably a little bit familiar with HTML since that is how you used to do your backgrounds, and that's where I learned how to do HTML. But if you don't have an HTML background with websites such as MySpace or any in the current times, building websites or anything of that sort, there are really great resources, which I'm going to link for you, that will show you what this looks like and do the HTML for you. So all you have to do is worry about making it look pretty, and they do all the hard part. Okay, so this is one of my favorite editors. Now there are a ton of these, so you don't have to use this one, but what you type in this box shows up here. So you can see that there's different headings in here. So I'm going to teach you some of the basics really quick, and then if you want to use any more, you can do this. So for headings, it's an H for heading and then a number. So as they go up, they change. And then you always put them in these little brackets. And when you're done, you always close it with a slash. And that's pretty much it. The only hard part is learning what these little tags are, which you'll have your few favorites that you'll use. And it is pretty easy to do from there. Now I do have a little blurb that I've worked on. So this is going to be my tagline here. And then we are going to go into the main juice. So now you can see in this editor that it's not looking right. And that's because you have to tell the program when to put a space. So a space is going to be BR. Okay, and you see how that's going down here. So book extras, we want another space here. And then I want this a little bit bigger, so let's try, woo. That looks good. And then we always want to say no more, stop that. Okay. I'm going to get rid of that break line because what that did is it put in a little bit extra since the heading does give some space. So now we want to do those bullet points, which is LI, and then /LI. So I have to check with my book and see what additional activities I did this time. So we are counting, searching. So yeah, they can find hidden creatures. Oops, we're editing up here. Hidden creatures in a search and find game. This does not have a coloring page. So answer reading comprehension. Questions about the story. Whoop. No more. Okay, and then I am dyslexic, so I always make sure that I spell bigger words correctly. Typically, I have Grammarly check me over before, just because I have a really hard time with placing letters in the right order. And I know that's silly for an author to be dyslexic, but hey, we can overcome anything if we just work on it. Oops. So there are no ocean facts in this one. So we're going to okay, that one can stay because this is an ocean tale again. So let's see where we're at. We need a break here and a break here. And let's do one more here. And one here. And a list again. And not a list. So here we have our big title to catch their attention. We have a summary of the story. We have, hey, there's even more that you get. I actually, okay. Then we have, hey, there's even more you can get here. You can discover hidden creatures. You can answer reading comprehension story questions. So still trying to bring in the parents. Remember, this is not for the child. This is for the parent. So we can use bigger words. We can use bigger sell points. So this is trying to sell the parent on why buy your book. Now the pictures in the story, obviously we want that to be more geared for the kids to like it, so they keep asking it to read it over and over and over again. However, the initial sell has to be geared towards the parents. The kids aren't buying these books. If they are, they're gonna get in trouble for using their parents' credit card. but we need to make sure we're talking to parents here. So your kid's going to be able to answer comprehension questions. They're going to understand the story. This is an educational sell for me. So I really focus on schools, teachers, and educational reading for parents. Whereas your book may be more fun and silly, and it can be that breath of fresh air that the parent just like, I'm over school, I'm over this homeschooling thing with all the changes in the world lately, and they just want a break of educating. That could be your sell point. So whatever angle your book is coming at and what it is about, no matter that be for a specific reason or not, you have to grab a hold of what makes your book special and push that towards your audience. My audience loves education, so obviously I'm going to push them towards more education. However, if I write a different book in a different genre, I'm going to push them towards something else, and I hope that makes sense. So I like how this looks. It's a good start. I can always edit this later, so don't be afraid that you won't be able to change this. So I'm just going to delete what I have and paste that in. Now, it is going to look messy because you're going to have all of these little blurbs in here, but that is going to look good because once you publish it, you'll be able to see it just like it was on that other page. Now, I own the copyright for this book. Here, you're going to put in your keywords. So this is things that people are going to be searching to find your book. When you pick keywords, make sure you're picking things that people are searching. If I put in a book about the environmental problems that sharks are facing, honestly, nobody cares and is going to be looking that up. That's so specific. I might get only a handful of people when if I do children's book about sharks, every kid gets into shark. There's Shark Week. There's shark education in school. There's shark themed things that happen year round. So that's going to get a lot of people. Now, to check if your keywords are good, I do recommend you search on Amazon and you search on Google to see how many results that brings up. Is it something people are searching? And so forth. So I'm going to leave you guys to do that on your own, and I'm actually going to skip over this for now because that does take some time to do that research. Categories are also some things that you need to do research on. So I am going to pick some general categories now, and then after the book's published, you can add up to 10. So even though you're only picking 2 now, your book will have 10 once it has its page, and then you can tell KDP to add it to all these other ones. So don't worry too much if you can't find all the categories you want. You can always change them, and I recommend changing them relatively frequently to stay up to date because I feel like there are new categories being added all the time, and it really helps your book stay fresh. Okay, and does this book contain adult content? So no, it does not. It's a children's book. Let's go ahead and save and continue. You can use a free ISBN, but I recommend using your own. If you use your own, then you own it, and that means you can publish your book through different sources. If you let KDP publish it with their free ISBN, then you cannot put it other places because they own that ISBN. So I highly, highly, highly recommend buying your own, and they're not that expensive if you buy them in bulk. I bought the 100 pack, and it is an initial investment, but if you are being an author as a full-time career, or this is a hobby that you just want to keep publishing, no matter where you are in your career aspect of authorship, if you are publishing a lot or planning on publishing a lot, just go for the 100 pack. It is so worth the money, and I can't recommend it enough. So let me just go ahead and throw in my ISBN. And then my imprint is my name. Now this is probably going to be your publishing company, My publishing company name is my own name, but if this is different for you, then put what is true for your company. The publication date is going to be when it's live on Amazon, so I'm not going to do that now. This is really important. This page messes up a lot of different people, and I get questions about this a lot of you uploading your documents and then something's wrong, or the bleed's not right, or it doesn't look right, or it looks funny. So we need to make sure these are picked correctly, and it's really easy to miss. So we want color on white paper. This book is not a 6x9, so we need to change the size to, here we are, an 8.5 by 8.5. Now we do want a bleed, and that means the color goes all the way to the edge of the page. And this doesn't matter if you put a bleed in your document or not. Either way, if you want the color to go to the edge, no matter how you formatted it, you pick this one. The cover, matte or glossy. I like glossy for my children's books, and I love the matte covers for adult books. They just feel so good, and if you haven't felt them yet, you'll know as soon as you feel it. I really love the matte covers that they have, but not for children's books. Now's the time to upload your manuscript. So this is my interior. I'm just gonna upload that. Okay, so that is uploaded. I always like to label my interiors by the date as well as the covers. I do a lot of updates. Recently, I changed where my name was positioned on my cover for my new books going forward, and I wanted to change all my past books to match. That way they all stay uniform. So knowing the date that they're uploaded really helps me keep it straight of which is the newest update, without having to get rid of old files, because I am a file junkie. And I'm going to do the same thing, oops, not that, for my cover. So they do have a cover creator. I don't recommend it. I recommend you guys just download the template they'll give you and then design your own cover. So I'm going to upload my cover. Okay, great. So these are going to be processing, and once they're done processing, you can launch the previewer, or you can click it early and it will just process first. But you do have to look at your book before it lets you go forward. So looking at the book is a really good thing to do, just because you will see errors, or KDP will let you know of errors before you get to the printing process. So this is a really good step to take your time and really read over your book, read through it out loud, and make sure everything looks okay, everything sounds okay, and then if everything's good by your eyes and KDP's scan of the book, then I recommend you move forward. Okay, so one thing I do want to let you guys know is KDP's preview of your book, your cover will always look like this slight blurriness, to where it's like, is there something in my eyes? Are my eyes blurry, or is the cover blurry? And it's really confusing because your interior is going to be crisp. So just be aware that this will look slightly blurry, but it does not print that way. And this is why proofs are so important. So over here, everything is fine. There's not telling me there's anything wrong. So I'm just going to comb through my book really slowly and make sure everything is good. So I actually did see an issue within my covers, so I fixed that, and the rest of the book looked great. So this is why we do proofs, because I always, every single time, I will see something when I upload it here, and then quite frequently I will see it when I get my book proof in person. So don't skip this step. I can't stress this enough. Do not skip this step. I made the mistake early on in my publishing career when I thought, I'm perfect. I had an editor look at it. I looked at it. My friends have looked at it and nobody sees a problem. And sure enough, I sell, 10, 20, 30 copies, and I notice something that needs changed. So always get a proof. Never trust yourself and just take it very slowly. One last look is always going to be beneficial. Even if you find nothing, you'll be glad you at least looked, just because at least that way you know it is perfect and ready to go. Okay, so I just got through reading through my book and it works. So I'm going to go ahead and approve this. All right, so now everything is good and it tells me how much it's gonna cost me. So this is how much I am going to pay per book. So all of this looks good. So I'm going to go ahead and save and continue. And before I do that, just color with white paper. It's a bleed, glossy, 8.5 by 8.5, perfect. Just always read through this. Even if you're an expert at it, take your time. This is the time where we don't want to mess up. So I have all territories and I like to put my books at $12. And I am not going to click this because if I click this, I won't be able to sell an Ingram Spark, and I want to be able to sell an Ingram Spark. That way I can really target schools and libraries and bookstores to get those bigger wholesale orders. So uncheck that, and if I click this button right here, my book is going to publish within 72 hours. I do not want to publish this book yet because this book is going to come out next year. So I have some time before I want this to release. I need to make sure I'm marketing it, getting those pre-sales in, setting it up for pre-orders. So there's a lot I need to do. So instead of publishing, I'm going to save this as a draft. This way, all of the information I've put in up to this point is saved. Now at this point, I can choose to order author copies. So I am going to go ahead and order a copy and make sure it looks good. Once I do that, this book can sit here all pretty until it is time to click publish, which I will do about 24 to 48 hours before the day I want my book to release. I hope this helped with setting up your title in KDP. If you do want to set up pre-orders, I'm going to make a new video on how you can set up your book available for pre-order. That way you can start selling your book even before it prints, which makes your launch day really exciting because a lot of books will sell and a lot of books will release right on that day. I hope this video has helped, and good luck on your self-publishing journey. Please don't forget to subscribe, thumbs up, and stay up to date with all the videos. Also, go over and check out BethanyStahl.com/classes. Here is my beautiful creation of all the information I have provided so far, organized into different sections so you can follow along, or if you're looking for help in one specific area, you can access all the resources I have built so far on each area. And I am building up my resources every week for you guys, so I am trying to build a really helpful helping hand for all of you. A lot of it is free and some of it is exclusive for my self-pub Patreon members, which is the best way to get in contact with me if you have any additional questions or need additional help. I don't see a lot of other comments on different various social media platforms, so if you are really trying to get into contact with me, Patreon would be the best way. Good luck and happy publishing.